Convexity. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's check in on these high yield funds and see what's going on at this hour. It's about lunchtime here in the Central Time Zone, a little after 12. Okay. Right now we have all the funds outperforming because they're in the green. So in this case, they're losing less than the parent asset is losing, or except in the case of Tress. Tress is having, or TLT is having a bullish day. Tress is down just a little bit, but all the other ones are down less than the parent. So it's kind of a rough day in the market. I have the current profit and loss scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I think I do. Now I do. All right, I just copy and pasted it from the 5-minute max spreadsheet, but that's the current. I should have put that's for the month. Oh, no, that's for the day. The bottom of the screen, that's the current profit and loss on the day. For the month, triple QI, even after today, still it would be down 648,000 on the month. JEPY after today will be down 333,000 if today stays like it is. IWMY, even after today's loss, today they're down about 900,000 right now. They're still up $1.5 million on the month. USOY is losing $92,000, but still has a slight lead on the month, or a slight gain on the month. Okay, let's look at, see what's going on here. Here's a 24-hour chart of NASDAQ. Kind of drifted up overnight, and then when it opened this morning, it started selling off again. These are half-hour bars. Every bar you see is a half-hour. Okay, so that's NASDAQ futures. They trade 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. Here's NASDAQ cash. You'll see gaps on the cash chart sometimes. Because of the action that happens overnight. Like right here was a bearish gap on the cash chart. We closed the NASDAQ at like 18,740 something and opened the next day at 1669 something. Anyway, we have a huge zone in there that is an area that's not traded. And anyway, that's technical traders use that information to tell them stuff. All right, so that's NASDAQ. Let's look at SPX. But in any event, NASDAQ had a small gap this morning, but it's been filled. And same thing with S&P. It's going down right now. And look at Russell. I always say Russell's the strongest or the weakest. And if you look at Russell today, yeah, Russell's down 1%, whereas the S&P's down 65 bips. NASDAQ's down about 0.5%. All right, now let's look over here at USO. This is oil, and this is important since we're oil traders now. If we have any shares in the USOY fund, the new Defiance fund, or the USOI fund that's been around for a couple of years. The Defiance fund, USOY, has just been around for, I don't know, like, you can tell probably since I started drawing profit boxes. Since May. It's been around the month of May, it looks like. In any event, today they sold the 77, but they sold it for Wednesday. So now remember, when you sell a put, it's a bullish strategy. So this is what's going on with the market is not great right now. We would like the market to go to $77 to maximize our profit on USOY if we have any shares in that. Now, one thing I will say is these funds monetize volatility. And let's pull up the oil volatility real quick. There's something called the OVX, which is the oil VIX. Let me get my seltzer open. Okay, so I put the oil VIX in the bottom window, and big surprise, or it's not the VIX, but it's the oil's implied volatility, I guess, or and you can see it is making new highs. Now, of course, the chart, if you look at the volatility index is making new highs for the chart, but the price is making new lows for the length of the chart that the visible area that we can see. So that's not really any surprise. All right, so now let's see what's happening with Tress. Tress trades TLT. Okay. Now TLT is rallying. It has been rallying the past 1, 2, 3 days. Here's some examples of open price gaps, that didn't get filled. All right, so that's TLT. So let's look at some yield max funds and see what's going on. First, let's check out this meme stock. Let's look at GME. Speaking of open gaps that haven't been filled, that are still open from last night. We closed it Friday at 24, opened today at 41. We're trading at 31 now. I have a option trade that I'm making a video on that'll be out this afternoon on how to trade meme stocks. And I also put together a trade on this stock, FFIE, if you guys have heard of this one. This one is also supposedly a short squeeze candidate or whatever. They've already tried to do it once. But anyway, I have some trades for FFIE and GME. All right, well, let's look here at Tesla. Boy, Tesla is just a chop. Look, when we zoom out a little bit, look at this, up to 190, down to 170, up to 190, up to 180, down to 170, up to 1. I mean, it's been going back and forth between 180 and 170 since what? It looks like, early May. Or you could even go back a little bit further than that and say it's going back and forth between about 180 and 170. All right. Okay, so the strike prices this morning, in the morning update, Tesla strike had already got blown out. Well, it's back to being fine again. In fact, both of their strikes are fine. All right, let's look at some other stocks. Well, a lot of these big tech stocks, AMD is also grinding in a range between about 160 and 170. NVIDIA, you wouldn't really say NVIDIA is grinding in a range, but you would say NVIDIA is grinding in a range. NVIDIA has a big open price gap on the chart. Wonder if this is getting ready to take off again. That'd be my guess. I should make a video on an option trade for NVIDIA, because if this thing makes new highs, I think it'll continue to short squeeze even until the split and after the split. I guess also as long as the market keeps cooperating. The market's not really cooperating today. Let's look back at the Russell's rallying a little bit. The Russell's no longer down more than 1%. It's only down 80 basis points. Maybe we'll get an afternoon rally. All right, so there's NVIDIA. Let's check out Misty. Misty has a ladder of 2 strikes. They have the 1615 and the 1610, I believe. Oh, and they also have an 1800. So they have a ladder of 3 strikes. They're pretty good about laddering. Of course, they have a high implied volatility. They can do stuff. They can put their options a little bit further out than other strategies are able to, because of the level of implied volatility. The time they did this option right there is 15% out of the money. And within one day, it was only 5% out of the money, because the market moved up 10% in the next day or two or something. So that's why they put it so far out of the money. And the reason they can get away with it is because the implied volatility is so high. they can sell options that are that far out of the money, and they still make enough money to be able to pay a premium. And these guys pay a really nice premium, so, or a really nice dividend with the premiums, of course. All right, well, let's look back at the indexes real fast, maybe check in on the buffer report. Yeah, the indexes are rallying. Look at this. The indexes are trying to turn around and go the other way. Even Russell, which was, like I say, Russell's down more than 1% when the report started. There's S&P. Okay, well, that would be great. So let's look at the cash indexes. Okay, well, great. So NASDAQ rallied from losing money to back in the money, and that is beautiful. Okay, S&P has more work to do. I'll be back with an update at the end of the day, of course. Let's look at the buffer report. Okay, so this is the daily buffer report, and you can see here that the NASDAQ's down 52 bips, which we know. S&P's down 59 bips, and there's the Russell right there down 88 bips. Okay, well, so let's see how they're all performing. So unfortunately, FEPI is leading on the downside today, as is JEPI, which is rare for both of those funds. They're good funds. NUSI is actually up today, as is YMAG. Nice job, YMAG. How's YMAG up? Well, we're going to look at the single stocks here in a little bit. Bali's up as well. Good day for TLTW. Now, we talked about the Defiance fund TRES, which trades TLT. There's also but it trades TLT in kind of a neutral or an omnidirectional way. TLTW trades TLT, which is the bond market, in a straight bullish way. And remember, we looked at this. Bonds are blowing up today. Oops, wrong letter. Yeah, bonds are blowing up today. And so these guys, it's a covered call strategy, which is neutral to bullish, as you guys know. So this fund is doing really well. Of course, the underline's up 118 bips, but the yield fund is catching 114 bips of that. That's great. It's great. Now, look, unfortunately, the oil market's taking it on the chin. USOI is a covered call oil fund. USOY is a Defiance fund that's just been here since May that we've talked about just a little bit ago, where they sell puts a couple of times a week. Also, it's also a bullish strategy, but in any event, they're both down, but not down as much as the underlying, so that's good. We'll take it. Now, on the single stocks. Okay, so that's why YMAG's up, because YMAG's up because NVIDIA and because there's still some of these stocks that are up. So some of these tech, hang on. So some of these tech stocks are obviously up. Let's look back here for a second. Did we look at NVIDIA today? Well, it's definitely up. YMAG also gapped up. YMAG still has a little open gap. It almost filled it. When it comes back and today's price touches right the high of yesterday, then the gap is considered filled. If the gap remains open, the rule of thumb is that you want to trade in the direction of the gap. So if this gap did not get filled by the end of the day or by tomorrow or by the next day, the longer it remains open, the more bullish it is because it's a bullish gap. If it had been like this gap right here was a bearish gap. Okay. Let's talk about the buffer report some more. So lots of good performance here. I got a question about YBIT today. I'm going to start. I need to do a better job at separating out the crypto covered call funds from the equity covered call funds. The buffer report needs some major renovations, and it has for a while. So in any event, but there's some exciting things going on in that space. Look at YBIT up 2.5 basis points, Maxi up 2.5. Great job, guys. Great job, guys. So on the bad list today, it'd of course be oil and somehow AMD. Let's go back here and check. Yeah, AMD just grinding between like 180 and 160, right? And or something, 170 and 160. Tesla grinding between 180 and 160 or so. I don't know if we checked out Amazon. Okay, well, it's coming back to that. It's been working on this bull wedge. It gave us a fake there. Maybe this time they'll break it and really get above it. And, you know, who knows? Who knows? All right, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. All right, let's see how the market's doing. Yeah, the market's turning around hard. This little action this morning, you know, may have been a trap. And just as was this morning's action, it opened really high and trapped some people. Then it went down low and looked like it was going to go lower and trap some people. Maybe it'll just close right in the middle. If you look in the broader, you can look in the broader scheme of things and kind of get a better perspective. This is kind of looking like a big topping formation, actually. In that time frame. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish in the comments. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around this long. Be looking for my meme trade. Here's a sneak preview. Here's the profit and loss graph of the meme trade. I don't know why I call it a meme trade, meme stock trade or whatever. If you guys ever heard of this FFIE, it's supposed to be a short squeeze candidate, what's it called? A Reddit stock, what's Wall Street Bets or something. Anyway, it's so cheap you can barely lose money. Anyway, I have a cheap way to take a little gamble on it. All right, guys, I'll be back with that video in a little bit. I appreciate you guys for being here, and you guys have a wonderful day. If you don't mind, hit the like on the way out, maybe. I never remember to say that. I probably ought to. Yeah, if you don't mind, hit the like on the way out. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I'll be back soon. Thank you so much.